Okay, I think we're live on both Twitch and YouTube. Just double check that. Cool. Right, who have we got in chat? Say hello. Don't be shy. Ah, that Twitch title needs changing. One moment. Hey, Brendan, how you doing? Got a buff seagull, 6 flags, Magic Mountain. Nice. Yo, good to have you here. Right, just gonna get my entropy set up. Cool. Right, entropy is up as well. Nice. Cool. Right, entropy is up as well. Nice. Cool. Right, entropy is up as well. Nice. Right, entropy is up as well. Nice. Cool. So today I said that I would be doing a little bit of work on. Today I said that I would be doing a little bit of work on. Today I
Too many things.
Oh, sorry.
Where's that coming from?
Today I
Too many
said
things.
that I
Oh,
would be
sorry.
doing
That
a little
way.
bit of work.
Gotcha.
Okay. Caught 2 of the 3. Missed one. Hall of Mirrors. Right, yeah. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on adding some more errors. I've changed the way that we do handle errors generally in WhiteBox. So we'll just be extending that through a bit more of the system. And then we've just started adding this new feature of interactive help. Let me bring up WhiteBox. Let's just run it through VS Code because that's open. Although maybe that's a bad idea if it's just going to take ages. This is not how long WhiteBox takes to start up. This is how long VS Code, not VS Code, Visual Studio takes to load all of a bunch of DLLs. Wow. Okay. Anyway, so while that starts up, it's in testing mode, isn't it? Yeah. Let's get it out of that. I mean, it's bad normally, but it's not quite as bad when we're not on stream. But let's try that again. Okay, cool. So we're adding this new interactive help feature. So you can hit F1 and it'll open up the README, although it's in the wrong folder for this currently. Yeah. Or you can do interactive help and it'll give you a bit of feedback depending on what you hover over. So we're going to be adding some more details to these feedback text hover or tooltips, and maybe adding some like tips for how best to use them for users if they haven't interacted with them, as well as things like the so the timeline. If I run some code, test. Yeah, so if we run some code, that's a bad example, that's a better example. Yeah, so we've got these scopes. So like, for instance, telling users that you can click on those to expand and contract them. And if you have multiple of the same, for instance, let me just demonstrate a new feature. You can call any old function and it'll keep track of the one that your cursor's in, which I'm very excited about. If you hold control, it'll do expand or contract all of every function that every scope that corresponds with the one you're hovering over. So this corresponds to the innermost scope here, this if statement, which gets run multiple times. So we can just do this single instance of the second time, or we can do every time that it gets run. We can contract. So yeah, adding a bit of information around that kind of thing. And then the other thing that I was considering doing, which we may not get to, probably won't get to be honest. Let's leave that for another time. Yeah. So, any questions so far? First of all, let me just show you what the error system looks like. So it's somewhat modeled after Go, a little bit of inspiration from a Rust library called EYRE, air. And yeah, so it's not quite finished. There are a few extra things I want to add, but it's in a state where it's very usable. We have a global circular array of errors, which is this. Do I want to go into how to do circular arrays? Well, maybe not. Maybe if you ask. Then yeah, so that contains both a circular array of errors themselves, which are obviously a fixed size struct here, as well as just an extra regular byte circular array, which is not really regular. It's like a magic ring buffer, but that's kind of beside the point. Another circular array of just bytes, which can store mostly extra strings or potentially other information that's useful for the error. Errors have a timestamp. They have a kind, which is just a big enum, which we've done with an X macro. Just experimenting with using numbers to define hierarchical groups. I don't know if that's interesting to go into in detail, but just know that you can do that with just numbers. Let's see. Yes, we've got this kind, a message that gets either constructed with from regular strings or other printf style string generator, and then we get this this cause error pointer. So if you, for instance, are calling into a library, we can, and that call has some error, we can make an error that corresponds to the library error, and then we can make an error that corresponds to what happened in our program as a result, and we get this small stack of causes. So we were trying to do this, and this failed, and that's because of this, which is because of this, which is because of this. Depending on how high up the call stack you end up fixing it. And then we also have this extra previous error pointer, and this effectively means that each error is really a linked list of errors. We're expecting each error to only really be a single thing, but doing it this way, where let me just show you an example, rather than, excuse me, so what you'd do previously would be you set the error to this, because we're passing a double pointer to error. I'm going to be saying error a lot this stream. So you could do this, but if you've previously set an error and not handled it, then this means that it'll get overwritten and it won't be obvious that you've missed it. The main benefit of this is that at least if you're not, even if you're not handling it, it becomes obvious that there's something that you need to handle. It just means that it's not failing silently. Yep, and then we've just got this source, which is a static pointer to a struct which contains the file, the function, and the line number. We're making use of an extension there, but you don't really need to. It's handy though. I mean, okay, I'll just show you what that looks like. App.h source. Yeah, so we've got line, file, and function. This is the expression statements or statement expressions. I forget what they're called. So we make a static thing, which is just the line, the file, the function, and then this is effectively returning a pointer to this static bit of information, and then we store that. If I couldn't use this, I'd just store it without the pointer, but this is just really cheap. Let's see. Yeah, and then there's a bunch of ways of some utility functions, but the main things are error f, error strings, error make, and error push. So error make is kind of the thing that adds errors into the circular array, and you'll notice that all of these functions take this errors pointer, which is to the circular array, and sorry, I dislike having functions assume global information. I much prefer to make sure that everything shows what it's actually using, and then in the place that it's called, we can pass that. And when you don't want to pass that because you're doing things a lot, I have these wrapper macros which just add a g underscore prefix, short for global, and they all just pass a global errors pointer. So even though we're using global data, all of the functions are capable of handling any errors pointer. So if, for instance, we wanted to make a separate collection of errors that's only confined to one part of the code base, then we can do that without it spilling in. And it also just means when you're looking at these functions, you know that they have to be using that. Yeah, so we have making a regular error with just a regular string, making printf base string, and concatenating string lists. And then this is just when error push makes adds it onto that linked list or turns it from a null to an initial pointer. Right. And then we do some dumping and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so the next maybe interesting thing is that if you're using C99 plus, you can do these struct literals, which are you basically kind of casting stuff in curly brackets to a type. And so what we're doing here is setting the source location without having to specify that at every call site, because that would get annoying. And then we're really just passing through all of the other arguments. And so this has actually been laid out quite intentionally so that you initially just, let's find it, yeah. So you can just, as when you're defining structs, defining structs normally, you can go as far into the structs as you like, and then after that everything just gets set to 0. So you can set the first thing, you can set the type and give it a string, type and cause, and of course if you don't want a string but you do want a cause, you can just do .cause equals whatever. But 0 values are intended to be useful. Like you can even just do that, and it'll be using just a general error. Although there's no point when I really want to do that. Yeah. So there's a few other things I want to add. Some other point, not today. Things like, so errors have a collection. There's different types of error, right? So some errors are based on users providing feedback, or users providing input that is invalid or incorrect in some way. Like an obvious example being they provide a path to a file that doesn't exist. Whereas others are really kind of recovering from mistakes that could be asserted on as a programmer, but maybe they haven't got handled. Maybe there was another case to some enumeration that you haven't seen before, but could theoretically exist. So it's useful to be able to just handle those in code, and also have the option of a debug break for particular types of error. So you might say, this is an unexpected error, breaking the debugger immediately so that I can inspect around it. Whereas others are just like normal expected user errors, and we'll handle those in code, and that's fine. Similarly, some errors may be worth attaching a call stack to, which is a moderately expensive operation. You probably don't need those for expected user errors, but again, may be useful for more developer errors. Yeah, so that's the kind of overview of the error system. I'm sure it'll change more as we use it a bit more, and yeah, you know, you always find little things you want to change. Let's open up the Twitch chat. Hello, Sean, Evaneo, Horthrax, Roxasy, and Vinit Kami, and Argix. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so any questions around that, or anything in particular you'd like to see before I get on with some of the code I'm expecting to write? Because my code base is was previously pretty reliant on assertions, we've also added a G error verify, which is basically the same as an assertion in terms of the format. The only real difference is that so it checks whether the expression is true. If it is, it evaluates to just true. If it's false, then it adds an error and evaluates to false. Well, let me find an example of that. Yeah. Just helps in the transition from assertion stuff to actually handled errors. I'm curious if you guys in the chat do anything different, or for the way you handle errors. I know in some cases that just error codes can be enough, but when this, for my particular case, they definitely weren't, because they needed to be quite specific about they needed to be made in a way that they can be useful for users, basically. Like, one thing I can imagine being useful would be some extra suggestion type of error, or like, I don't know, some suggestion linked under errors with interactive elements that they can use, because soon we will have a new feature where, rather than relying on the terminal, we have an inbuilt terminal which can interact directly with all of the WhiteBox stuff. And it'll be faster, much faster, because currently the terminal is kind of the slowest thing in the program, and I have to be really careful about not dumping too much to it. Anyway, let's do some programming. What did I say I was going to do? Bring up my GitHub project board. There we go. Yeah, DLL loading. Okay, dokie. Let me bring up this diagram, for both you and myself. So this is a rough structure of the build process internal to WhiteBox. I know, I'm sharing trade secrets and all that. But so we have this explicit tag, and ran is obviously there's a single endpoint currently, at least. and we have a bunch of things that need to come as inputs and then get processed, and then eventually we can run the program. And the idea is that you can change something further back and it'll invalidate everything afterwards, and it'll rework all the way through. I actually have a stream on that if you're interested in more detail. But currently we have error handling for this one and something further up. I can't remember which. Anyway, we need to add them to more of these. Specifically things like flags and DLLs, which are user input things where they can make mistakes. So let's find where that's done. All of these are in functions that are fairly straightforward. Although these are kind of still done. There's a difficult thing with this is to how much you fully conform to the DAG structure and how much you cheat a bit to get a few, rather than process stuff twice. So what basically happens is these we check whether or not these are, oh no, camera's died already. Quick, let me just replace that. It's always so sad when you don't last as long as you expect to. Right, we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay. So what we were basically doing is when we check for these, we are updating them at the same time. We say that it's dirty, which invalidates everything further down, and then we try and update for it, and it's already updated, so it's just successful. But then everything downstream of it needs to get done still. So I need to actually find where that gets done. Dirty DLL. Cool. One time that using X macros becomes a bit confusing because you can no longer just search. Right, user can change DLL paths. Just print change. we're using this big user actions. Actually, not that big. Fairly small, really, X macro, but we do quite a lot with it. Handle user action name. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're doing something pretty similar for both flags and DLLs, which is expected. They're both just boxes of text. Objects are slightly more complicated, although we probably want to make them much more like DLLs. Avoid doing our own handling because LLVM already should be handling them. There are some things that we should be taking from LLVM, definitely. Not relying on their usage, their implementation, but this is probably one that is better to use their one. Right. Okay. So the real issue here is it's really here that we need to look, because we don't really know whether the flags and DLLs are correct until we've tried to put them into the compiler. Now, do we know which one is wrong? Not without a little bit of work. Do we need to know which one's wrong? I don't think so. I think that the error messages that we get will mean that the user will know which one it is, but we don't really need to know programmatically, because we can't handle it, the user has to handle it. So I think we're going to do some error stuff here. Let's have a look at what needs doing. I mean, should we just make some errors and see where it breaks? That seems like a decent way to go. Okay. Right, we will open up a copy of WhiteBox. Let's open up this. Sorry, I'll zoom in a bit. GUI font equals size 13. Now let's have a look at, do I have a test DLL? Yeah, there we go. Okay, interesting. that is quite a different way of doing handling DLLs. Although I guess printf is using C. Let's just see what happens. Okay. So we're loading this nice H module. Which has no data. That's fine. I wouldn't expect it to. And we are getting a proc. Now, something we need to do is capture this, but that's not what we're doing currently. You can see that 7FFA 5958F CFO is correct. Cool. So let's break it. Let's see. DLL files. Let's just break that. Now it's frozen, which is a good sign for file has broken successfully. Let's go into here and see where we are. Oh, wait, did we break because I selected text? Whoops. Yeah, okay. That is a gotcha for new players, as vlogs Dave tends to say, including myself. If you select anything in the terminal, it will pause your application. Cool. That was more what I was expecting. And we're in compiler reset, and we've hit an assertion. Fantastic. This is the one we've hit. So presumably this is just null. Yep. os.load library failed. Okay. os.h. I need to add to this so another use of X macros, maybe or maybe not useful, I'm not sure, but does the job. Hello, Newditch 2022. How you doing? Let's just fix that in Windows. Okay, last error. Void clear last error. Set last error 0. And do the same in Linux. Error equals 0. Cool. Don't you get distracted tweeting and coding? If you mean interacting, then yes. But yeah, I don't stream that often. I can take the productivity hit. I am very well, thank you. Very, very well. twitching. That makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely slows me down a bit, but sometimes it's fun to interact with people a bit. Just for anyone who hasn't seen, the voice chat is open in the WhiteBox Discord if you wanted to chat with me more directly. Where was I? Compiler reset. So yeah, we have this wrapper around OS errors. Which takes the gets a string from like string error, or Windows is somewhat obnoxious way of formatting error strings, which is, where is it? Error buff format. This format message A, format message from system, format message, ignore inserts, null, error, zero buff, but yeah, fun times. Could you describe what you're doing in just a few words? Developing a live debugger. So yeah, it's a program that shows you what you'll see in C++ code, does as you write it, hopefully expanding to new languages soon. Yeah, if I unbreak this. So this is the tool that we're working on. It connects to a bunch of different editors via plugins. It records the function as it gets run, and then shows you debugger-like information as you move around. If there are other, you can control like all the parameters that it gets called with here, and then you can inspect like a normal debugger-like view for the current location. You can see this timeline view of what's going on, and you can see all of the changes that particular bits of data go through across time. This is not a very interesting example. This is a more interesting example. And you can see as I change program, it just immediately jumps to running the new function that we've moved to. So I can return that to the default, and it just runs once, but n is 0, so there's not really very much interesting happening. Or I can call a different function, which is new, and it'll run multiple times because main runs it through 4 times. And we get all the different information. We can see all the different places that all the times that our cursor gets hit. So like it's 3 times outside of the if statement and 4 just twice inside, because that gets filtered a bit. Aren't there any similar products? You would think so, but no. You know, there are standard debuggers like Visual Studio, and there are the closest thing is probably Live++, which is specifically an IDE for like live. As you change your code, it updates the executable, but it's not really any of the debugging stuff. It's just, as far as I understand it, just the actual editing. Yeah, Visual Studio has live edit and continue, but none of them have this this overview over time, or the automatic debugging, as far as I'm aware. You know, there are little bits and pieces you can do here, but they're not really set up to be nice to use in that way. Yeah, so that's a brief overview of what I'm working on. More specifically, I'm in this session. I'm improving the error handling system and user feedback for when they do things wrong, or WhiteBox does things wrong, or they just want more information about the program. Like I've added this new feature where if you hit Control F1, it'll give you like a little tooltip of explaining whatever you're hovering over. So we're just going to flesh out that a bit. Oh no, I'm running low on tea. Alright, I'm going to have to take a break in a sec to get some more tea. I realise I haven't got a huge amount done yet. Let's get something done first, and then we'll go get some more tea. Okay, so we'll pass an error thing through here. I'll need to come back through here and do this. Handle all the other errors, but this is the first one that came across, so let's do that first. Sorry, my watch is just digging into my wrist a bit. Always fun when you do a little bit of exercise and everything expands slightly because you're flushed with blood. No innuendo intended, of course. Right. So I think the way we want to do this is we'll add to error. It's going to need to be formatted because we want to say what library it is. I don't particularly like the current way I have categorizing these. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the best way of doing it is yet, but we will play with it until we have something we like. Let's say let's call it a compiler input error. So the cause is going to be get last error. Let me just remind myself how that works. Get last error string. Okay, cool. And then this is a formatted error, so you could couldn't load the library. Wrap that a bit better. Couldn't load the library. Path string. So if you're not familiar, this is .%s takes two arguments, a length and a pointer, and then this is a macro which takes my string type and expands it into the length and the pointer. Cool. have a look at load library. Now, the slight problem here is that this is undifferentiated between Linux and Windows. So I think it maybe makes more sense to have the error coming back from the OS layer. Yeah, I think that makes sense. File name. So I just want to be returning that error. So either way, we're returning the result, and the error is going to be get last error. Cool. Need to make sure that's in the definition as well. And then we'll just do that here. So all errors start off null, pass in the lib error. If we now have an error, or we just don't have anything loaded, which should be the same, but just be sure there. Then we'll push on this error, rather than the cause being get last error, that's already been done. So we'll change that to lib error. And then this stuff, update library info. That is nothing on Windows. We only needed that for Linux. Update library info. I want to focus on, there's loads of assertions scattered through that could potentially trigger, but I want to focus on the highly likely ones, which are these error, these user-facing ones. Strings, modify string. I just won't do that if there's an error. But we can try loading the next one, and then if there's multiple failures, then we'll have all of those, because they'll just get pushed into this linked list. How nice. How nice. Cool. Now let's compile that and see how it looks. Ha. Declaration shadows a variable. This is the problem with using X macros, is that obviously everything is everything is nice and obfuscated in the error messages. You got errors on your errors. Oh, I already had a compiler input. Well, there we go. And of course, this is distinct from things like exceptions or even like a global error system, because you know exactly what is taking an error. And you're not going to get surprised that something is suddenly causing an exception that wasn't that hadn't been indicated to you. So we've got this error dump function, which is just a no-op in the case of a null error. Git reset. Okay, let's find compiler reset again. So there are more things we can do to handle stuff later, but for the moment, just making the user aware of them is going to be appropriate. Let's see how this, whether this compiles now. It does. That's nice. Then in that case, let us try breaking something. That just was a breakpoint. Interesting. Okay. I think we can ignore that for the moment. Cool. Windows error 126. The specified module could not be found. Couldn't load the library at. I'm going to write that in quotes. I don't like this extra new line. Can I ignore that new line, perhaps? Maybe I'll just do something in. Maybe my error dump can handle that case, and just not dump error from OS, error buff format, format message. I'll do it in error dump. Actually, I'll do it here, and I might do it in both as well. So if there's a new line at the end, oh, is it going to be /r/n? Buff size, buff used. That should really be buff used, shouldn't it? All right, change my mind. I'm going to handle it in error dump. So we're going through all the errors, we're going through the causes, error dump single. Yeah, it's here. So we're going to have one option is that there's a new line, and the other option is that there's nothing. So what's the condition for that? We are checking whether error message data error message dot len -1 and I need to wrap, oops, so lazy, sorry. Maybe improve this a bit, but so we need to make sure that there is some data. I think actually want these to go around. So if the last, if we have some string and the last character of that string is /n. Then we don't want to add anything, otherwise we add new line. Cool. Error message. That should be error message. Is this a precedence issue? Oh, that's right. Sorry. That should be single quotes. And let's go with that. How long have I been working on this project? Quite a long time now. Multiple years. Preferences, DLL files, break something. Okay, ignore. Cool. That's what we want to see. And I'll just quote that as well. Okay, right, what's next? It's not necessarily appropriate to have error handling on every single thing that can go wrong. Like sometimes assertion is just, you cannot recover from the error. Assertion is the only thing to do. And in those cases, having a setup like, back to the name. It's a specific language with a bunch of web things running it. Damn it. Basically you have this tree of like schedulers and work things, and if something breaks you just kill the worker, and then the scheduler runs something new, hopefully it's like slightly simpler and more likely to work. Oh man, I'm gonna get annoyed. What's that? What is that language called? It's not Elm, is it? I don't know. Whatever. Focus, focus, focus. What are we asserting? Yeah, that's just an internal thing. Leave that for the moment. Input.file name. See if it's using input file path. Is that something that the user could get wrong? Input file. At root file path. Yes. Okay. So I use go to end a lot instead of return. I like having a single return from functions. partly because things like profiling, you want to have a single start and end point for each. Erlang, that's the one. Thank you, Above Seagull. Although now you've got all the languages built in it now, like Elixir and Gleam. Thank you for having my back there. You got it. Points to you. I don't think I have any channel points or anything, but okay. This should never be less than 0, but it's a free extra check, so there's no real reason not to. Error push, error. Root file path, okay. Yeah. Make an error. What type of error is this? Compiler input. Path to root file. There's no obvious cause at this level. That'll do. And we want to go to end, I think. There's not really much else we can do. We have an error. We know to handle that. Sure. Okay. Let's see what's next. Don't think they should fail. They don't have a failure case. That's fine. That's good. We have a way of dealing with that. Basically, we want to do what did they call it? Basically, the idea is if it is already null terminated, then we use that, and if it's not, then we copy it and null terminate the copy. String copy. see. Okay, I'll just add it into the strings library. Hey, we got 10 people. How is everyone? Let's just add a quick new function. Simple strings, string creation, I guess, yeah. Validity. String, string enforce terminator. And we want a pusher, which is just like a wrapper over arenas. Basically anything where you can push lots of memory. Like ring buffers and arenas, and that's basically it. We could add more, but that does our needs for the moment. Now, if string length equals 0, Landald, good, thanks. Glad to hear it. Good. Do we want to copy? We probably do want to copy. Just to make sure. Or we could do an extra check. Now I'm going to assume that if string length equals 0, then there's a good chance that it's not valid. I don't want to have that situation. Equals 0, or the last character after last character, which is legal because we always null terminate, and we only use null terminated strings. So all of our strings, you can check one after the end. Does not equal null terminator, then string copy always null terminates. I think that's how it works. String copy, yeah. Nice. Let's just wrap that in an extra paren. And I quite like these to be laid out like that. Cool. No, we'll leave it on one line. I'll just come back to that and rethink that decision. Should 0 length strings be copied or have an extra validity check? Anyway, that does for the moment. Okay, so path string equals, oh, it's path, path's fine. Path implies string. String enforce terminator we'll pass in the local scratch buffer, not local, sorry, global g scratch push, and this path. So most likely this is just a copy basically. Should be fine, as in just copying on the stack, and then if not, we'll bump a number and then copy on the scratch buffer. Now right, what are we doing with full path? Just because we have a few new people in chat, I'll just remind you that you can join the voice chat and the Discord if you like.
Yo.
And it sounds like we've got Spencer. How you doing?
Good. Good morning. What are you working on right now?
We're just adding some more errors, error handling, particularly for user input stuff like DLLs and flags.
Okay. I'm opening up the stream right now.
Cool. Hey Kappa, welcome to the Discord. Welcome back, I should say.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's not new.
One sec, let me get this going through my headphones so we're not getting echo. Yeah, I can hear you. Cool. Yeah, so here we are. We're trying to load some DLLs. We're making sure that our path is not terminated because that's what the Windows library at least takes, null terminated string. And then we, if we don't succeed at making, if we can't load the library, we produce an error, and assuming we can load the library, then we update this info. Now I just need to double check that we're not expecting to keep this string around for later, and then we can just pass this path. Otherwise, we're going to need to think about allocation and stuff. Let's think. Where are we looking? Yeah, OS Linux, update library info, libpath. Yeah, libpath. Right, yeah. So this gets maybe updated, full path. Strings, modify strings, DL paths. Right, it's only living to here. Okay, that's fine. Strings to C, strings push. Yeah. So that can just go on the scratch buffer. That's good. Scratch. path. Yeah, I can just load that directly. Strings. Oh, that's why. Because I have path and path. Path node. Path node. That full path doesn't exist anymore. I'm gonna go and get some tea. Cool. Sweet, nice one. Thank you very much. This is all good. Let's just quickly run that, and I'm going to go get some tea. Why was permission denied? Don't have it open. Okay. All right. I mean, it's not going to show up, is it? Because it's the same as before. That is, yeah, internal issue. We'll worry about that later. Couldn't load the library. Yes, good, success. This is still running. Excellent stuff. Okie doke. Is string always using a system allocated pointer? OS is a struct object. OS is a struct object that's, I'll come back. OS is a struct object that's generated from these X macros. It's basically just a bunch of function pointers with a couple of extra things, like what the page size is and that kind of thing. But it's mostly just these. I really could be using just a normal .h file, but for some reason I felt like putting the API in a struct. Is what it is. String is not always using system allocated pointer. It can accept string allocated. It can be string allocated pointer. Wait, system allocated. What do you mean by system allocated? If you mean like a string literal like this, it can be pointing to those, or it can be pointing to memory anywhere, basically. It's just a pointer in length. See standard malloc realloc free. I don't tend to use malloc realloc on free. I've mostly been using the like virtual alloc, or mmap, the operating system allocation functions, and then so I allocate in my own large block of memory and then parcel that out as I need it. Yeah. So yeah. Nope. Can have a look at the this is my string header, so I'll let you see about half of that while I go and get some, while I go get some more tea. I'll be back shortly. The trick is, there's a bunch of tricks. Length goes first, so you can't accidentally make a zero length one. But if you have a length and pointer, you can do a bunch of substring stuff, which is really, really useful for free without any extra allocation. So while Just turn the camera off. There we go. Okay, I will be back shortly after I've made some tea. See you in a sec. Like regaling the chat with tales of stuff you're working on, then feel free to, but don't feel obliged. I am back. Oh no, lights in shot. My secrets have been revealed. Right, so, substring stuff. Yeah, provided using the built-in utilities, made the mistake of trying to printf the cards on a string that's actually just a substring, wondering why it keeps going. Yeah, so in those situations, you need to be using this, either n_string, or there's, so %s, which is the length and then pointer, n_string is length and then pointer. Cat did the laundry says, cool, I was struggling to understand memory ownership using the string. Say you want a substring, copy the struct, and add to the pointer and subtract from the length versus actually copy the memory. Guess you just have to keep track of it like with everything else. So you do have to be aware of where like in what memory things are being allocated. But because we use this arena approach, it tends to be pretty obvious what the right place to keep it is. We basically have an arena per lifetime. So if I bring back up this thing, actually, there's like one arena that covers basically all of these. And so if any of these allocates a memory, it'll go into that arena. And then when these die, then all of the memory just gets cleared at once. So you don't have to be super careful about it, but you do need to keep it in the back of your mind. It gets much, much more difficult if you have to do loads of malloc-y stuff. Like lots of individual allocations, and keep track of those and then free them. That's awful. Got so sad about C strings and just started looking at other languages. Yeah, I mean, now that I've got this library, so we've also got this way of joining multiple strings together, and then all of the ways of taking bits from individual strings. It's slightly more verbose than other languages, but I have 99% of what I'd be using in Lua or Python or whatever else. It doesn't have regex stuff currently, or searching stuff. Well, it has an exact literal search, but not no regex stuff. 90% of the ergonomic pitfalls of C strings you can get around with some clever tricks, yeah. Cyclical emotional swing for me. Yeah, that's just an internal break. Let's make that a debugger setup because what do we want? What do we want to do? Because I don't really want to fail this function, but right, okay, I know what we're doing. If DLI does not equal that, then an unexpected error. And we're just going to immediately dump it. We don't want to do anything with it. And then we'll add debug unreachable so that we break there in debug mode, but not in release mode. This will later be handled by tagging unexpected things with unexpected errors, tagging them with a debug break flag. Mismatched iteration number. I'm experimenting with string struct with the value storing the string's allocated size. If the pointer is allocated, or 0 if it's not an allocated pointer. I don't know if it's if that's actually a useful idea. Not experienced enough to tell. Okay, so what I would say is that you don't want the length to dictate whether or not the string is allocated, because if you're taking substrings of other things, then you may have a 0 length substring, and that should still be valid. If you just set the pointer to null whenever it's not allocated, then that's plausible. Oh, it's separate from the length. Oh, sorry, I see what you mean. Separate from the length value. So you have two numbers and a pointer. I mean, you really only... So how are you... What are you going to do if there's like a... if you take a substring in the middle of a string. Okay, so assume this is your string, G scratch push, and you find you want this as your substring scratch. So the length of that is 7 characters. Is the size, are you treating that as 14? Or are you treating it from there to the end? Like, unless you have a pointer to the beginning as well, like a full size doesn't seem useful, but maybe a size to the end does. But then again, you might have a 0 length string like right at the end of the string. Those would be my concerns. I would indicate whether or not it's allocated with just whether the pointer is null or a valid pointer. And which is actually what we do here. So it's unsurprising that I'd suggest that. Okay. Load library. Reset gen. Let's have a look at that. So cogen is also a struct API thing. Spence, is that your computer beeping? It's alright. Okay. No worries. Right, so reset gen. Destroy send setup gen. Now, an issue here is that I don't currently have the same error handling stuff visible to the C++ code. We could add it. I don't know whether there are going to be issues with struct literals. It's a little bit hazy on some of the OS stuff, working on it. Goal is to be 100% expert on applications internals by HMS this year. Sounds good. Right. What can break has to. That can't really go wrong. Result.compiler, result.j, result.target. Okay, so this is literally just allocation. If allocation fails, then sorry, that sucks. But I don't think I'm going to handle it. WhiteBox will just crash. At least not right now. It's not high priority. Set compiler invocation from args. So we have this has invocation thing. This is probably where error handling will be useful. Yeah, so we're passing through a bunch of inputs. like compiler flags basically. And if this goes wrong, then we want that to be readable. Yeah, we need that to be an error. And we need this to produce a string for the error as well. Oh no. So let's see. Alex and stuff. Oh, that's just whatever. That's just feedback. Debug feedback. I think really we want to be using LLVM's diagnostics here and converting those into our errors. Result. Right, so if this fails, we are going to be adding an error. I guess let's just see what happens when we include this. And because it's a nice big C++ file with all the LLVM stuff attached, it does take a little while to compile. Okay. App.z, right, so where was that? This shows you, of course I totally intended to do this. This, nope, not that. This shows you why you want your string struct to be length and then the data pointer. Because if I had it the other way around, then this would have been a valid entry for it. And it would have had, this is the data, but the length would be 0, which would be meaningless. Whereas this way around, I get a compile time error that I can just fix and turn it into the string literal. Need to use the global version of that. Global error push. Oh wait, I'm not actually doing that, am I? I'm just making an error. Unknown type name. Yeah, in this particular case, because it's very unexpected. There's nothing that the user can do about it. There's nothing that we can do about it at this point in the code. So I'm just informing the user, and if it's a debug version, breaking here so that we can inspect why this is the case. Normally the error gets returned through this pointer. Yeah, so there's like, theoretically at least, at some point we'll probably be doing some more stuff which involves actually handling errors as opposed to just letting the user know about them. And so it's just kind of finding the appropriate place in the call stack to handle the error. But also, if you dump it further up, then we may have a bunch more causality information that we can dump out. So we can associate useful error information together. Right. So unsurprisingly, the errors stuff is not totally liked by C++ file. Let's see whether a couple of extra things will help. Warning declaration does. Oh no. Oh, that sucks. Ah. Okay. Is that just a warning? I'm going to ignore that for the moment. Oh, goodness. Okay. Actually, we might be able to get away with just... Can we get away with just strings.h and just do that manually? We still have that issue, but that's less bad. I didn't realize that this wasn't allowed in C++. Oh, I'll just ignore it. It's just a warning. It's fine. I think. Like, it's totally legal in C with extensions. And it's kind of handy. So, sorry, C++. Not sure. Anything in particular? Or just, okay. Oh, I haven't seen him in a couple of days. Right. Let's go to there. Actually, I'm going to do it in codegen.cpp. Pragma Clang Diagnostic push Pragma Clang Diagnostic ignored dash W missing declarations and then pragma clang diagnostic pop. Cool. Was that an anonymous union member? Is that a thing in C? Yes. As Spencer said, with the, I think it's the MSDN, the Microsoft extensions, which Clang can enable. But it's quite nice in this particular case because it's kind of like a mix-in, or I guess kind of like inheritance, I say grudgingly, in that, let's just open strings.h. So if I have a string node, I can access node.data, and that is the same as node.string.data. So it just means whenever you're normally using this, whenever you want to access the members, you just do it like this, and whenever you want to pass it to a function that takes a string, you pass that string, whatever. Super handy. Shame that C++ doesn't seem to recognize it. Does that change the initializer syntax? Like maybe in the string you have one, so you can use the string literal syntax to initialize string without braces. I don't think it changes the initialization. I think it looks the same as it would as normal. Initialize string without braces, because you need the length computation. Haha, now there is the trick that you may have missed. In strings.h, you can use a string literal, and you can generate that at compile time using this, because a string, this is actually not a char star, this is a char array, whatever. String equals, yeah, so because this is an array, you can do size of this. Let's make it shorter. Quick quiz, what's the size of this? Anyone? No, it's 4, because it includes the null terminator. Thanks for, no, you're helping me illustrate my point. It's helpful. So yeah, no, I think I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we can use that. We use this macro, and we have size of the string -1, which is literally just turned from the compiler into a number. It doesn't really do any computation, and then just the string by itself. This assumes that you're passing an actual string literal to it. If you pass something else to it, it'll do something stupid, but yeah, I don't know. We haven't done that yet. And it's so handy that it's definitely not, it's worth the occasional potential issue. Not that you would need that computation, never mind, I'm sorry. Didn't realize, for instance, that stringlet computed the size at compile time. Yeah. I always wondered if those extra string literals make their way into the binary, or if the compiler knows to discard them. Oh, you mean for the size of? It shouldn't be in the binary. I'd be very surprised. Now, I mean, even if you just do string 1 equals hello, and then string 2 equals hello, these probably point to the same place. They're not required to, but like, if your compiler doesn't, what is it doing, really? Yeah, the ones that go into size of, yeah. Yeah, so I didn't realize that stringlet computed the size at compile time. We also have this thing which is stringslet, which is makes a list. You need to get that right, not an array. A list of strings. And it takes in a bunch of string literals. Now this, yeah. But so stringlet is a compile time thing. Stringslet unfortunately isn't. Just because we need to do a little bit of processing on parsing all of the arrays. Yeah, L is just this. Just because you use it so often, it's worth having that short. You couldn't figure out the syntax of the macro taking just a comma separated string literals either. Well, I didn't want to because you can pass in other strings that have been generated dynamically as opposed to ones at compile time. Although I know how to do arbitrary things, but it's so horrific with macros that it's not worth doing. Like a for each macro do whatever. Not worth it. It's sorry, I've yeah, I spent some time a while ago like looking into all the macro hacks that you can do, and still have a little bit of PTSD from looking at that. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely would. Yeah, you do want to be really careful with them. Sometimes it's worth it in C. Like C is missing some things, and so it's helpful to be able to add them yourself. But yeah, you got to be aware of the downsides. Right, errors. Oh yeah, we're doing this, aren't we? Undeclared identifier GUI. Right. Errors, string error. Oh, it doesn't like L, maybe? No? Oh, yeah. Because C++ is rubbish and doesn't have designated initializers. Okay. I think I can get rid of these and that should still work. Because we start at 0, error group end goes back 1. Yeah, that should work. Oh no. Those are the same. Let's see if that works. No, this is more of a problem. It's actually needed there. Damn it, C++, why are you so useless? Yeah, it's a shame you can't do anonymous arrays. Always on the lookout for obscure, borderline abusive C syntax tricks. Yes. Oh, that's annoying. I know what I should be doing. Rather than any of this, and rather than doing any of the error stuff inside, let's get rid of that string error. That was the same, wasn't it? No, go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you in that, is your current working directory in that path? Like, in what way is it not showing up? Are you in the thing and it's not letting you access the files, or it's just not letting you get into the location? Okay. I think you have a slightly different Samba setup from me. Awesome. Oh? Try toggling the enhanced session mode, because I think we changed the setting on that last night. Change that back to what it was before, and then close it and try again. I think you can change it when it's closed. Not enhanced session itself. It was, let's see. I think it's integration services, guest services. That's the one we toggled yesterday. Try toggling that back off. You'll have to close the thing, then restart it, and then see if that works. Otherwise, I don't really have any suggestions. Okay. Sorry about that. It's annoying. Right. Given that we're in C++ world, we're going to do some C++ chicanery. Let's just double check that this compiles. Is there anything that we've missed? I'm going to try putting another battery back in my camera and see if that works. Get a nice webcam utility symbol. You gonna load? Just while this is compiling. No dice. Okay. Well, it's still compiling, so I'm still feel justified playing with this. Why is that not working? There's some other software that's taking it. Is Discord stealing my camera? Is it you? Wow, this is taking a long time to link. Spence is writing an assembler for it and starting a compiler. And now that I've fixed the limitation on arena size for using allocated memory, I can actually use WhiteBox while I'm developing it. Yes, we now have shared memory can have a massive reserve count as well as... Well, if it's helping your development, then, you know, gotta get to it. I had most of it done yesterday. I just finished the Linux stuff this morning. Yeah, so there's, as long as you're not using more than 128 gigabytes, then you should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think there are many people with 128 gigs on their system currently. Cool, right, that linked. So, successful compilation. Right. I apologize to everyone watching that we now have to do C++ stuff, but welcome to my world. Because that means that C++ is going to take a while to compile. But rather than doing what we're doing here, we're going to lean in to the C++ chicanery and make our own error stream. But it's going to take a little bit of digging through docs to remind myself how that actually works. But we're going to create our own little class, our own stream with its methods. Oh, how quaint. Right, OStream. Raw OS OStream. That looks like the one. Let's go there for the moment. Raw OStream. I think we want an unbuffered one. So what are we going to do? Have it a struct so that everything can be public. Struct push OStream, because we seem to already have the push thing here, so that's great. I will capitalize it how I like to capitalize it, actually. Thank you very much. Public LVM raw OStream. What do we need to set? So let's have a constructor. We'll take in a pusher pointer. We'll take in. Nope, I think that's it for the moment. So and we also want to just do the regular OStream initialization, which should look like this, I think. I don't do that much C++, so this is all a little bit trying to remind myself as I go along. Just like tagging what booleans are with a little comment next to them. It's very easy to just look over the function and have no idea what's happening. And then we don't need to do anything internally. Right, so string ref is basically what we have as strings, just a pointer in length. Operator inline file path, particularly for constant strings, where a sufficiently smart compiler will simplify string length. Fine, do as you will. So does this have a size? Tell, return the current offset within the file. String.size. Do I want to be doing? What's a p write stream? Writes to a. Is that a write to pointer? Because if so, that's fine. I feel like I see that webcam utility text more than your actual face. Yeah, I need to find the adapter that I made so that I can run the camera on mains power rather than battery, because the batteries don't really last very long when streaming. Void p-write pos equals tell. I guess current pos. Raw string OStream. I don't really want to go through their allocated string. Just seems kind of pointless. Raw OStream. I guess we want has colors equal true because we handle ANSI stuff. Virtual bool has colors override turn true. What does that? I don't really understand what const means for virtual. Is it just, can you normally change virtual functions at runtime? I feel like you probably can't. But I don't know enough about the details of C++ to know for sure. Do that for both has colors and adjustment is displayed. And that means colors. So we'll just do both. I'm not sure if that's called any other type, but it is true. It is being displayed. Right, how am I going to get my length out? Right. String. When unbuffered, the stream will flush after every write. This routine also flush the buffer immediately when the stream is being set to unbuffered. Flush, flush, flush. Flush non-empty, flush the current buffer. Do we need a C++ version? CPP. Okay. Flush non-empty. Out buffer, out buff start. That looks promising. But we're not, if we're not buffering, then maybe that's not the issue. The buffer is handled in such a way that the buffer is uninitialized, unbuffered, or out of space when out buffer is greater than or equal to end. Okay. Thus a single comparison suffices to determine if we need to take the slow path to write a single character. One of three things: unbuffered, uninitialized, or buffered. If buffered, then the raw OStream owns the buffer. If buffer mode equals internal buffer. Otherwise, the buffer has been set via set buffer and is managed by the cell class. Do we actually want our push to be a buffer instead of the OStream interface? Out buff end minus out buff current. That's going to be 0 in most cases. Maybe that's only if we're using the buffered one. unsigned car C or pointer and size. So this is the meat and potatoes. So initialize to a null pointer. I guess what does the flush non-empty do? Resets it. I don't really feel like wrapping every single one of these functions if I can avoid it. Sorry about this, a little bit slow and uninteresting. Sometimes what you gotta do. Ah, right impl. Start of the data to be written. Pointer and size. Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's really nice. Haha. Current pause. Sweet. Virtual. Let's grab those. Easy to not count the bytes currently in the buffer because we don't have a buffer. So let's just have a size. These are both override. And size. I think that's right. Okay, so we have pusher.h. We have push size align with the function. If we do zeros on the align, then it should be, or it's just text. It can be aligned to 1, even better. Push size align. Push. We also just want the initial data That's not how this works. We need to do that. Push, push. Data, null pointer, size. We're gonna push 0 bytes onto it. Push 0, 1. Yeah, that's what we want. Call it len rather than size. Len does write pass null terminators? I don't think so. The string ref size string dot size. I'm pretty sure that's what I would call a length. So this is currently just keeping it all in one string, which is imperfect, but okay. We just keep pushing onto this because assume that stable objects isn't top of history. So this is something I like to do, where you define your assumptions literally in the code. Hash define assume pusher memory is contiguous. And then this assumes that pusher memory is contiguous. So if I ever get rid of this, then this will be some sort of error, and I will get taken to it at compile time, rather than finding out through some more subtle bug. Cool, 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 cool. Let's go back to where we were. Which was, what were we doing again? Reset gen, setup gen, diagnostics, yeah. was here. Yeah, here we are. So I'm going to vary temporarily, make a push OStream push stream. It's a wrapper into a wrapper, but there you go. Construct it with a push. I could include a scratch push into this. I think that seems reasonable, because that gets past everything. Gender push. Yep. Push strum. Let's actually, I don't want to compile it there. Let's see whether our compiler likes that or not. Okay. Invalid use of non-static data member. What? How about that? You're right, Spence. You getting any with it? Okay. That's annoying. Yeah. Yeah, build system stuff is the worst. Invalid use of non-static. Is that not how you? I mean, I'm fine putting it in this. I'll probably just do this though. Error allocating an object of abstract. Right. Now I do this somewhere else where we use the parent constructor. Oh, just talking about C++ makes me feel dirty. Constructors. Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it's doing the same thing. Is it because it's an abstract class? But if it's, how can an abstract class have a constructor? What? That seems weird. Hmm. Why is that not an implementation? You lie. You lie, you lie. I'm sure I'm just writing this thing. Oh, that probably shouldn't be there. As useful as it is, you gotta put it in a useful place, in a place that allows it. I'm not sure if that'll get all of those, but I think that'll help. So is restarting Samba working for you? Does Samba have any like queries you can do for it? I guess the other option is just to treat it as a completely separate computer and clone the Git repo. Which is annoying. But if it's going to take a long time to like faff around, then maybe. Yeah. Alright. Error assigning to const car star from incompatible type. Void star, yeah. C does implicit casts, but C++ does not. To clarify, C does implicit casts from void star, not from other things. Push size, no matching function. Candidate function, no known conversion from. Oh, right. Okay. Copy into there. String data, string length. So we're pushing this much data with an alignment of 1. Yeah. and then we're not doing any null termination currently. That can happen later. Yeah, let's see. Cool. We hadn't done that, so that's expected. Codegen.h. Let's have a look and see what we need. IR, gen, and jit. Push const star scratch push. And then I'm going to need to initialize that somewhere. Gen and jet. Reset gen. Reset jet. Reset gen. Setup gen. Destroy gen. Okay, we can just not touch that here and do that outside. And it'll break loudly if it does fail, so that's fine. Compiler reset. This is what we're working on, so let's just do it now. G.gen dot arrow scratch push equals G scratch. Can't type today. G scratch push. Every time I say push, as in like from Git stuff or something else. I see. You feel like you're being addressed. I'm always talking to you when I say it. It may sound like I'm talking about code, but if you pay attention, there's actually a code. That's compiling. Awesome. Let's bring up a debugger. And we'll look in this bit. We want to break in that. We want to break in that. I want to break in that. Do that. Lower my sit-stand desk to sit for a bit. So if you hear any whirring, then that's what that was. Okay. And we have null. Okay, cool. Cool. Reset gen. Where else are we resetting gen? Maybe I'll just do this in some init function. E G init. Let's just do it. There. Push till null. Okay. Compiler reset client init. Am I being dumb here? Probably. Compiler reset. That's happening after this, surely. Oh, is that has G-Scratch in it not being set up yet? No, it's a thing in. It's static. It should always have a pointer. And we're taking an address, obviously, not. Let's see. App.c. Let's see with a capital C. G scratch push. Ggen scratch push. Okay. Where did that go? Oh, yeah, because we just, that's not how we reset it. Okay. Because we're doing this, which resets it. This is kind of jank, but it'll do. It's doing it's solving the problem, which is what we want to happen. Happy days. Are you cloning stuff now?
It's cloned, yeah. So now I'm just gonna see if I can actually build it again. After all the trouble we went to yesterday.
I did change the build.py, if you saw.
Okay, so that should just work out of the box.
You'll need to add the. Oh, you've already got the dependencies, so I don't see why it shouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means it's going to break horribly.
Yeah.
That's how programming works.
Sound like you've done this before.
I've made my share of mistakes.
Okay.
G.gen has this scratch push. Okay, so in because we're in the middle of okay, I'll do it properly. It's already a function with a ridiculous number of arguments. So what's one more? No? You definitely got the right path. What path is not found? Is it definitely the build.py is not found? Are you doing ./build.py or Python 3 Python 3 build.py? Yeah, but you'll want to be in the build Linux folder. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, it was because. Are you calling it with sudo? Oh no, it's because you had to like add. It said that the Git repository wasn't owned by you, so you had to mark it safe. No. It was like if you do git describe -- wherever equals 0 manually, and then it'll tell you the command that you need to put in for Git. Oh. So what's it giving you? What? Yeah. So what's it giving you when you do it manually? Right. Okay, just modify the Python script to dump out whatever the error is, or sorry, to dump out whatever the standard out that it captures, and then see if there's something that you can use from that. You may also need to get standard error as well as the standard out. So that's for var string, right? That's for var underscore string, right? Yeah. So don't split it initially. Just do like describe string equals get stood out, whatever. Then do the same with like error. Are you watching my stream? I'm just doing it now. and then print describe string, print describe error. So it gets standard out, gets standard error, and then this just becomes describe string dot split. I'll leave that open if you need it for a sec. Right, we don't want that anymore. G scratch push. Oh yeah, can't have it running while we do that. And we wait for C++ to compile. Everyone's favorite pastime. How's everyone doing in chat? Is there anything in particular that people would like to see? Should I just keep on plugging away at this? Actually, I may stop fairly soon. What's going on, Spence?
Hold on.
It would help if when we did setup gen, we actually used the push result equals result dot that's bizarre. What happens if you put just like exit afterwards? Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I was just guessing, to be honest. It seems like if they've got to get standard out, they should have a get standard error as well. Oh wait, I defined that. Haha. Oh, because it's this. Nice one. Add this at the top here. Line 7. Copy and paste that and change that to standard error. Is it actually printing or is it just failing because get standard error doesn't exist? I mean, it depends. Yeah, but have you got that before the get standard error call? Okay. I mean, that might be correct. That might be why it's failing. Yeah. You're in the build Linux folder, yeah? You're still like inside the Git repo. You can add like another argument beforehand if you need. Just if they do, you're being punked. So you get an uncanny feeling whenever you make an edit and it actually goes right the first time. So you should.
Is owned by someone else. Okay. There we go.
It's weird that it didn't come up when you did it manually. Because it did yesterday. Fingers crossed.
Nope.
What's it do now?
Same exact thing. Nothing changed. So I ran the git config global add safe directory.
What? It's having the same error. Is it creating some like? Are you running it with sudo? Did you call sudo when you ran that command? Because it might be a difference of the fact that you're in like root versus Spencer. Right, so we need to trigger this to write an error, so we're just going to do the same things we did before. Okay, that's less bad. It's all good, man. Just shout if you need me. Let's just add something that doesn't work. Okay. I did it again. I selected stuff. All right. Okay. So, let's see. Then is this. You won't let me look at this? That's just cheating. Start of location info 0. Along the file line. Cool, okay. Void write impl. I think it doesn't like it when I have multiple like the internals of the function on the same line as the rest, the whatever you call this. You have one line have the entire signature and the definition as one line. Anyway. Okay. And I want to make sure I break, where is it? Wherever I use that. Pusher O stream, here, before that goes out of scope. Alright, I'm happy enough. Those seem to be doing something. Push, stream, data, error, unknown argument. Well, wouldn't you know it? Awesome. That's exactly what we wanted. Haha. Okay, well, cool. Len is not being updated. Oh, yeah, because I didn't update Len. That would be a useful component when you actually change the values that you want changed. Len plus equals stir len. It's magic. Which means the current pause is kind of broken, but that is fine. Yeah, I need to close that first. Right, I think once I've got this error being pulled into the main error system, I'm going to call it there. Push stream, the length 38. That seems pretty reasonable to me. Okay, we want to push one more character. Where are we? Here. I'm blanking. Push stream, push size align, push stream dot push 1 1. We want 1 byte, and we want to set it carstar equals to 0. And I'll terminate that string. But don't change the length. Aha, that's important. Okay. Now I need to return it. I think I'm just going to make a C++ version of the string. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be annoying. Like, I've already got loads of arguments. I'd really rather not have more. CPP string, size t len, car const data. Error string. Alright, CPP stir error equals first stream dot data then push in data. I think this is allowed, and then string equals error, because you don't have string literals in the same way in C++, because C++ is a strictly inferior language to C. Compiler setup. Code changes. Error string, and reset gen will also need that. And then we'll change that in the types. Right. Pass all those arguments through. 11 arguments. How ridiculous. What are we initializing? Cannot initialize set compiling. Oh right, that's its own thing as well. CPP string star error string. Compilers are so useful. Why would you want to work in a dynamic language where you don't get this told to you at compile time? Instead you have to run it and see when it breaks. Awesome, building. Okay, I'm gonna be back in a couple of minutes. See you in a sec. Hello, I am back. I hope you all had a good time in my absence. So we want to just pause here and see whether the error string is valid. Or let's just handle it now. If error string.len, then g error push error g error I don't want to skip over the error text. Don't want to repeat myself. Let's change back to error.h and add a new error type, compiler. Or is it still compiler input? I'll leave it at that. We might change it later. We want error type. We want to copy this error onto the... Wait, I think it already copies it, doesn't it? Error source. Oh no, I think there's something different. That is fine. String copy. We want to put it onto error. Let's just use error. That's so much simpler. Let's see how that goes. So we want to look in app.c here. Run. Error, unknown argument. IAS or no. Yep, wise. Okay, let's have a look at start error. And because we're using printf, this has been copied into the ring buffer for error info. Error unknown argument. Do I want to... I think I want to strip that first bit out. Let's use string partition. Yeah, okay, I know what we're doing now. So if something we want to debug verify, because I want to check whether this is ever not true. It's verify is like an assert, but when it's disabled, it just leaves the stuff that's inside the parentheses rather than asserting whether it's true. So you can leave it in this if expression, and rather than just disappearing, it goes to whatever's in here. So debug verify string index of error cpp string. You getting there? That's always the it catches everyone out. Yeah. Yeah, that's all right. We're sharing my bad practices. It's not there. It's never been there. It's in. Yeah, it's just because it's large and I didn't want to copy it in, and it's kind of stupid. Let me I'll send it to you. Yeah. There you go. It's in Discord. That is a good point. All right. That is an even better point. Do you have internet access? Can I email it to you? Okay. All right, give me a sec. I know, I don't know. I had an aversion to it, and it really hasn't been worth it. Yeah. I'm not sure I have your email address. Do you want to send it to me in yeah. Cool. Thank you. Or does he? No one knows. Alright. I've sent that. I think that one's like a celebratory problem that once you hit it, you know that things are going well. Spam. Soti Tufen. Goodbye, you're getting banned. Sorry. I'm not that sorry. You shouldn't have spammed. Nothing interesting. Now this isn't I'm moderating on my phone, which is not ideal. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, Jesus. Okay, give me a moment. Apparently my phone didn't like that and played with it. There we go. Back to the code. Sorry about that, stream. Right, we're checking index of in error string. We're looking for literal error. Sure, error prefix equals that. As long as that is 0, then error string equals is it string skip or something? Yeah. Skip. Error string, it's going to skip error prefix. $n. To rerun that, and there, error string, and when we bump, ta-da, we no longer have the error prefix. Clang error, unknown argument, hell to the s. We're probably going to need to do some like splitting at some point when there's multiple errors, but I will leave that for the moment. Just make a note. Alright, so we've gone from this, for this particular bit, we now have taken what was going to the standard error through the LLVM error stream, and we've created our own OStream struct that can be passed into the same thing, and that pushes data onto our scratch buffer. We then get a string representation of that, i.e. pointer and length, and then we copy that into our error buffer. So there's only really one copy, that's fine because that needs to be have the life extended. I mean, I suppose that we could pass, rather than pass the scratch pusher, we could actually pass a pusher version of the error info ring buffer. And in that case, there would be 0 copies. I mean, it's pretty cheap, like it's a minuscule amount of data, but it's an option to do. Yeah, but it's keeping that in the gen, at least for the moment, so that's probably not a good idea. Well, no, because it would probably be used for the error stream at any time, so that's probably not too bad. Change to using g.as info instead of copying from scratch. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Made some good progress in there. We added another error thing into the DLL system. Hasn't been super fast. I haven't streamed for a while. Takes a little bit of time to get back into it. But I've had fun, and hopefully you guys have had fun too. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up now. I think if you want to find out more about WhiteBox, you can go to whitebox.systems. You can join our Discord at chat.whitebox.systems. That'll just redirect you to the Discord server without having to remember an awkward string, alphanumeric string. Yeah, you can go to the Twitter, twitter.com/whitebox_sys. And if you really like the look of WhiteBox and you haven't already, you can purchase a beta version of it at azmr.itch.io/whitebox. And you will get immediate access to the current version and everything up to at least version 1.0 or 1.x. Everything up to, but not including 2. Peace to you two, Captain in the Laundry. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Take care, everyone.